Jacksonville, and I do go by the Bearded Realtor. Unfortunately, some other gentlemen been in the real estate game a little bit longer than me, took the E, so I figured I'll switch it up and make it an A. So just a little bit about myself. Been in the business almost 2 years. Been doing pretty well. Was in the military prior to now, which is the kind of the thing I wanted to do when I got out was grow a beard. So, and think I did pretty well at it. So, but anyway, been in business. I'm here in Jacksonville, and me and Shalonda connected on Facebook, and been working a few deals together and doing some great things. So, thank you, Shalonda.
Well, thank you for coming on and introducing yourself. Tell me a little bit about the market down there in Jacksonville. How is that working out for you?
So I think the market here in Jacksonville is it's like everywhere else. The inventory is super low. People are really trying because I work with a lot of VA buyers, and it's really been really tough on a lot of veteran buyers because of the appraisal process. With all these cash buyers coming down and paying straight cash, it's making it kind of hard to compete for buyers nowadays. For us here, and what I've done with my business is try to kind of push people a little bit more towards the new construction side. There's a little less competition, and you'll have an opportunity to be able to get into a brand new home for yourself. So that's what I kind of done since the market's kind of went the way it has this past few months. It's kind of shifted my business toward more of a new construction. So how's everything going in Orlando?
You know what? To be honest with you, it's the same thing, so to speak. We do have this, low inventory, but I do see where we're starting to get a little bit more on the inventory list on our side.
Mm-hmm.
It do go, rather quickly, but I am seeing a little rise in between the numbers. So I also agree with you too. I do tend to focus more so on the new construction. Because it's a little bit easier, so to speak, as
Mm-hmm.
far as inventory.
Yes.
Now, what I have been noticing is that I still have that clientele that wants pre-existing homes.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want the new construction. So, it's still I'm searching for that. So how are you explaining with your buyers as far as like the highest best type of situation? Um,
Um, so for me, and I've lost a couple of buyers because of it. Buyers lose patience. They lose. I mean, they lose the motivation because you come into it and you want to purchase a house. You saved up your money, and then this happens in the market, and it's like you can't compete with a person that's paying straight cash. Like,
right.
I had a question from one of my buyers saying, "Are they paying all cash?" I'm like, "Yes, they are paying transferring from one bank account to the next bank account, and they're paying cash." So it makes it disheartening for people who wanted to buy a house and want to um, live the American dream of owning a house, and you come into this market and it's like, I don't know what else to tell them. I mean, it's just like this one young lady I'm working with. I said, hey, let's take a break, take a breather, see what happens after closer to the end of the year, and then see if we can come back and try to do it again. Because I mean, buying a house already is stressful enough, but then you add the added pressure of cash buyers. Like you can't compete with that. And I mean, it's just
Yeah.
a tough situation. What about you
Yeah.
guys?
Well, I agree too. Now I have had a couple of offers that were, didn't get accepted due to the cash offers. But
Hmm.
not only that, I received like a couple of clients that I have, families that I'm working with, they are VA. So, or they are FHA, you know what I mean? So it's like once these listing agents receive these offers, they automatically assume that this cash offer or this conventional offer is the strongest offer, which is, like I said before, it's not, they're not, in a lot of times, because you have these VA loans that come in or VA borrowers, they just want to be able to use their benefits. So
Hmm.
I'm sure that if they wanted to, they can come off with this cash as well, but they are entitled to use a loan that give them the benefit. So that's one thing I try to tell like a couple of clients that I have. Just because our offer has not been accepted, it's only because they're looking at it as if this cash offer is the strongest offer.
Yeah. And so how are you working through your appraisals and things like that when you work with these VA buyers? Because I know that's a big thing here where um, the house I sold probably a couple weeks ago, the buyer had to make up the difference. How are you guys working through it down there?
Well, as a listing agent, what I tend to do with my listings, I always have a pre-listing appraisal done.
Okay.
So that helps me kind of, deter from, because once I list that property, we can put this on the MLS. So you see that this appraisal is very new, is less
Mm-hmm.
than 2 months old pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our numbers. So that has helped me. But as far as the buyer side, I only had one situation where an appraisal came in under, but it really didn't matter because she was still putting down a large amount of cash.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So are you paying for these appraisals?
You know what, I am. I
Oh wow.
discounted.
Hey, you doing something different. I'm like, whoa.
You have to be different,
You have to be.
you have to be different, but then it's also with networking too. So
Okay.
with the appraiser that I use, he gave me a great discount.
Okay.
I'm only paid $250 for
Okay.
my pre-listing appraisals.
Okay.
So it's not the standard 400 or 500 that he would charge or whatever. It's $250.
That's how much y'all pay down there?
Yeah. What's your numbers?
300?
Oh
That's like
no.
that's like off the rip. Like 300.
No.
Like you paying more 300, you getting ripped off up here.
Oh no, here appraiser real quick, 450.
No,
Um,
no.
Even when I bought my house last year, I paid $512 for my appraisal.
Oh no. No, no,
Yeah.
no. So what's your opinion on the importance of home ownership?
You know what? We can kind of that conversation is a broad conversation, right?
Okay.
So
So
I
break,
would
so break it down for me then.
break it down for you. I
Hmm.
say it's important. It is indeed important as long as the mindset is there,
Okay.
because you can get into home ownership, but then can you afford or have the mindset that this property needs to be taken, need to be maintained. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? But yes, it's very important. I do think it changes your net worth very
Yep.
quickly.
Hmm.
So I am a strong believer in that, and I promote it. So not only am I in the industry of helping people come homeowners, I am one. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I live by it as well.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
important.
And I have to agree with you on that because the mindset, um, when you're moving from an apartment to a house,
Mhm.
it's a shift because there's
Yeah.
no landlord to come fix stuff when it's broke. There's no, hey, I'm calling the office to have them come fix it. So that all goes to you. That's you stuff you have to pay for. So
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. It is very important, but I do think it has to be a shift of the mind to
Mhm.
understand that this is something that you own now. This is not something you're renting temporarily. You
Mhm.
actually own this property and you're building equity in something or investing in one of your largest, probably the largest asset you'll have ever have.
Mhm.
And so you have to take care of. You have to ensure that you're paying your bills on time. You're paying your mortgage on time because I've seen so many cases where people aren't doing the things they're supposed to do and go into foreclosure or financial issues happen. So it's definitely important. It's just that the mindset definitely has to be there. Absolutely, I agree,
You
agree
know,
with
a funny story is when I had purchased my property last year, you
you. Hmm.
know, I was coming from a rental standpoint. You know, even as children, my mom owned our home, but
Hmm.
we weren't part of the financing, part of it. So we just lived there.
Yes,
So well, after I think like maybe 30 days, I had to buy AC filters, right?
I almost killed you. You was like, what? What?
Let me tell you, I had to buy AC filters. They couldn't find them at Lowe's, couldn't find them
Hmm.
at Walmart. They had to be specially ordered because of my train system. And for I think six AC filters, it was $120. I almost died.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about because we had to get our filters. I think we ordered them through Amazon though. They had to be
Okay.
specially custom made. So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and they ain't cheap.
No, they're not. So, like I said, the mindset is key. And,
Hmm.
that's just where I stand at. Because if you want it bad enough, if you want your net worth to change, because you can literally go from having a net worth of 100,000 to, 200,000 or 50,000 to 100,000. So that can change really quickly with my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. So how long you been in business? You've been in business for a little bit, right?
I started off in property management, did that for 15 years, and then the last 3 years I've been licensed. You?
So I just been licensed not even 2 years yet. In August, well, actually, yeah, next month it'll be 2 years.
Okay.
It's when I joined my first brokerage 2 years ago. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What day did you pass your test?
So I passed my test back in June of 19. So here's what I did. I took the test in June. Well, actually, I took the class. I think it was like March to like May time frame.
Mm-hmm.
It took a long time for them to approve me to take the state exam. So I was studying during that time, and so after I got my license, it was like doing my transition as I'm getting out, I'm getting ready to retire. I decided, okay, let me figure out which brokerage I want to go with. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't know, for those listening, once you get your license, it seems like everybody got your address, your phone
Mm-hmm.
number. They
Yeah.
send you stuff in the mail. Hey, join this brokerage, join this. I got people calling me. I'm like, how'd you get my number?
Right.
And so I, I interviewed a few brokerages, and I ended up joining Century 21, my first brokerage. And so that's what happened with me. So
How
two
how was the transition from being military to now real estate? How was that?
big difference, because in the military we have a set standard of discipline and rules,
Mm-hmm.
and you know,
Yeah.
if I like, if we're in the military together, if I email you, I'm going to get an email back the same day, within
Right.
within reason, of course.
Mm-hmm.
um, Out here, y'all do things a little bit different than what I'm accustomed to.
Okay.
It's almost as if, like, okay, so let's say for out here, I got to send you an email,
Mm-hmm.
call you to make sure you got the email. Then
Mm-hmm.
I have to send you another email to say, okay, hey, did you get my first email? It's like
Mm-hmm.
a whole follow up system that I got to go through just to get you to even reply to me. And then once you do reply, it's been a day or two later. I didn't probably forgot about what I asked you about, and it takes so long. I'm just like, don't even. I could have just did it myself.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I've sent this email to you, so it was definitely a big transition for me, because when you've been in the military that long and you get out here and you realize this ain't how y'all do business. This is not how business is done out here.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big mindset shift, because it was
Yeah.
just not what I expected. I don't
Okay.
expect that at all. No, no.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Here's a perfect example right here.
Okay.
Okay, so if I call you, so I have a buyer. He's ready to purchase his property. I call the listing agent. I
Mm-hmm.
called like 5 times. Did he answer the phone? No. I sent him an email. Did he answer my email? No. I sent him a text message. Did he answer my text message? No. So I got a buyer ready to purchase a property. You can even pick the phone up to say, hello, how can I help you? Hey, I'm gonna text you back or something. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we got, like, this is a buyer, a ready, willing, and able buyer, and you can't even pick up the phone to say, hey, let me get back to you. I'm in a meeting, or hey, I'm doing something right now. Let me hit you back. And then if you do that, hit me back. Don't just leave me hanging. Like, come on now. Like really?
Yeah.
Hey,
I
we
haven't
trying to,
experienced that.
you have not?
No, you know what? Honestly,
Ooh,
um,
man.
I really haven't. So let me knock on wood, because then my next my next offer will be the same thing. So normally what I do, like if I have a family that I know we want to send me an offer for, that's we ready to go, paperwork signed and everything. I have a rule of thumb. I do a 4-point contact, right? So the first one, like you, I make a phone call. That's prior to me even showing the property. So say for instance, I send this listing to my buyer's family, and they're like, we really we want to see this. This is on our top 5 list or whatever. So I go ahead and reach out to the listing agent. They may not answer the first time, but I'll try it again. You know how like you blow up somebody's telephone? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna flood your telephone.
So you're gonna call them, hang up, and then call them right back again.
Sure. Yes, I will.
Okay.
Yes, I will. So from there, I'll send a text. So like I'll send a text. I just submitted a request to show your property. My name is Shalonda, and I'll link my business card, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we done made it to the property. And they may not respond, but normally they'll go ahead and respond, because how I get their response, I don't always link my business card the first go around. So
Okay.
they'll respond back to me like, who is this? Right? So that's the question, who is this? So now I have you responding to me now. So now I'll link my business card. So now I know you saw, especially if you have an iPhone, I can tell when you read my message.
Yeah.
So I'll do that. And so if I know that I'm gonna go ahead and submit, I have my lender go ahead and touch bases. So the lender and I, we tag team it. Whoever the lender is, they done made a point of contact. So
Mm-hmm.
once the offer gets submitted, then I'll be like, hey, I just want to follow up with you to see if you received the offer. If not, da 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 da. Just so I have 4 points of communication.
Yeah, I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing all that. I'm not. I'm
Well,
not.
that's the way I stand out. You know what I mean?
Because here's the thing: as a listing agent, you represent the best interest of the seller. So
Right.
if I, as a buyer, that's bringing a buyer to purchase your seller's house,
Mm-hmm.
you can't have the professionalism to answer the phone or at least text me back. I'm not going through that whole process. Because here's the thing: if a buyer says, "Hey, what's going on with this property?" I'm gonna be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, man, but they're not answering the phone. They're not picking up. Do you still want to look at the property?" He's like, "No, what?" They said, "No, what? Don't worry about it. We'll go to the next house." And now we move on. Like that's just like that's
Yeah.
common courtesy. Like you
Yeah.
can't do business like that. If I'm representing you, I'm gonna do everything I'm supposed to do. If I don't answer the phone, I'm gonna call you back. I'm gonna text you back saying something. But I'm never
Yeah.
just gonna not just ghost you and not even do anything. Like no, and I see that so much. Like it's like,
Yeah.
where's the professionalism? Like it's a being a realtor is a profession. Like why is it such? Like I hear so many stories. I do cold call in the morning, and the lady I called, she was like, "You know what? I'm going to sell my house, but right now we're trying to go through something to get the taxes or something." I was like, I said,
Mm-hmm.
so what happened? She said, "My realtor was an idiot." She was like, "Blah blah 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 blah." I'm just saying, like, what are people doing? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Like, this job is not, this business is not that hard. Like,
Right.
if you do what you say you're going to do, people respect you and you just get results for them. But if you're gonna think you're just gonna come in and just make some money like HGTV, like this
Yeah.
ain't the business for you. Like, no.
Yeah. So I have something. Let me
So,
ask you a
so
question.
you've never experienced none of that?
No, I haven't. Let me knock on wood again. I have not.
Jeez.
I haven't.
That must got to be a bunch
I
of realtors
guess
out of Orlando then, because I don't know. In Jacksonville, we do things different because people don't
in
answer the
Jacksonville.
phone. Yeah,
Well,
like they don't answer the phone. They don't answer no text
mm-mm.
messages.
No, I haven't had that problem. Matter of fact, I have a listing agent. We in the deal right now. He praised me like I guess it's similar to what you were saying. Like you're not gonna do all of that. So I guess a lot
No.
of people don't do it because he literally texted me and was like, I chose your offer because, you called me, you didn't send a letter. I guess, you have these buyer agents that sending these love letters or to the seller. So,
Hey, those love letters work. You can talk what you want to say, but they work.
okay.
They work.
But some agents don't like them. And he was one, and he was like, it was just a clean offer, da 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 da. He was like, so I made sure that my seller saw it. So no, I have not experienced that, Maurice, and I don't want to experience because
You lucky.
that would change the sun to clouds real quickly
You
to
are
be
lucky.
ignored.
You
To
are
be ignored.
lucky.
So you mentioned something
Yeah.
in conversation, something that you do, cold calling, right?
Yes.
How do you do? Like, what's your? Even though you are successful, you still do cold calling. I dig that.
So here's my situation. So
Hmm.
when I first came into business, I did it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I actually gave up on it. I said, "Man, forget this. I'm not doing this. Like this is
Okay.
stupid. People hanging up on you." Like
Hmm.
I had this one guy curse me out. He was like, "Why are you calling me for? Well, you're trying to make money." Da, 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 da. I'm like, "Bro,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help you sell your house." So I got recently got a business coach, and
Hmm.
she was in the business a few years back, and she said, "If you really want to make money, you're gonna have to get listings." And I was like,
Hmm. Yeah.
I said, "Okay, you know." because I got to a point where like I don't know how you are, but Jacksonville is pretty big. So
Okay.
to drive somebody from one side of town to the other side of town takes you 30, 45 minutes.
Right.
And doing that for the past almost 2 years, it's a lot. It just took a toll on me, and I was like, man, I can't keep running around Jacksonville showing a person this house after they said they won't look at it, showing them 5, 10 houses.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this something got to give. So she was like, I really need you to start back cold calling. And I was like, oh man, I don't know about this. I don't know. So she was like, she said, you have to change your mentality. I said, what
Hmm.
you mean? She said, your mentality is all wrong. You're going into it with the wrong mentality because you're going into it with a negative attitude. So if you go into any situation with a negative attitude, you're gonna get negative results from it.
Right.
So I was like, wait a minute. Okay, you may have a point there. And so I started back, and I swear my heart was like, the first time I started back, my heart was beating off fast. I was sitting there like, man, just a voicemail pickup. This is a voicemail pickup. But I've done it for like the past 2 months now, and it's like it gets easier. It gets
Hmm.
more, not, I wouldn't say quite comfortable, but there's not an anxiety feeling when I'm getting ready to make these calls anymore, because
Right.
I've realized, the value that I'm bringing to this business. You know, I don't think nobody in Jacksonville can touch me with that. I mean,
Mm.
if I'm every time I list your house, if I sell it, every house, I come in with a little bit more confidence now, because I know the value that I bring to a client. So if you don't want to work with me, fine, that's cool. But understand that the next guy that you go with, they don't give you the results that you're looking for, don't be mad at me. So I start back cold calling, and it's going pretty well so far. I've gotten maybe 4 or 5 decent leads that I got to just continue following up on, because this is
Hmm.
what we're holding off to sell later,
Hmm.
and just continue following up with them, because that's what they say. The money's in the follow up. Like, if you can't
Yeah.
follow up with somebody, they're gonna forget about you. So
Right.
if your follow up system sucks, it's not gonna work, because I can call you today and call you back next week. You be like, "Who is this? I don't even remember you." So if you
Right.
don't come back for a month, they definitely have moved on. So yeah, I just had to get my mentality, because me and my coach sat down and said, okay, hey, so what are your goals? I said, hey, I want to sell 50 properties a year.
Hmm.
She was like, well, you're going to have to start getting some more listings, unless you want to be ran ragged all over town. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So that's what I got to do. So, I mean, I just had to, it's all a mindset thing.
Right.
Like being a realtor is all a mindset thing. I mean, if you come into it with a negative attitude, you're gonna get negative results. And that's and the training that I mentioned to you a few weeks back. That's what we talked about. We talk about the mindset and shifting your mind to think, okay, instead of trying to do 20 deals, let's just contact 3 people per day.
Right.
How easy is that? Just, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Hey, let's go play ball, or whatever the case may be. That's just 3 people. You ain't got to talk about real estate. Just talk about anything. Anything you have in common with that person. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while, man. What's going on? How's the family doing? Hey, I ain't seen you at church, or whatever the case may be. If you can do that to 3 people a day, and then of course, if you as you get bigger, you have to do more people. But
Right.
3 people a day to get you what I got to look at the math. It was like 10 to 15 deals a year, probably up
Yeah.
to
You know,
20.
it's relationships.
Absolutely.
It's definitely a contact sport, like they say, contact sport. But but I would say ultimately it's a relationship building sport. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It is building trustworthy relationships, because at the end of the day, if I'm gonna buy a house, I'm gonna buy a house. But
Yes.
I want to buy a house with you. I want to experience that experience with you. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So, like I said, it's a relationship. I have one. I don't know with this client. She stands out the most to me, right?
Hmm.
So I never met her in person. Like it was just a phone connect,
Hmm.
um, and we just built a great rapport, very great rapport. And I kind of knew off the bat that we matched as far as working together without even seeing one another.
Hmm.
So just building that rapport, we end up talking every single day. when I say every single day we talked, and it wasn't about the purchasing of her home. It wasn't about half the time. It wasn't about real estate. It was about either her children, my children, how it is
Mm-hmm.
in Florida, etc. So even all the way down to closing, that she didn't see her property until maybe 2 to 3 weeks after she closed.
Mm.
She gave me power of attorney to sign for her.
Wow.
That's trust. Now, I did have to drive to Fort Lauderdale. That's 2 hours away. But it was still that she trusted me. You know what I mean? She
Mm-hmm.
trusted me so much. So that's a relationship. And
Yes.
even until this day, we still communicate almost daily.
Got you.
So that's an importance of not just looking at people as, this is a transaction, transaction, transaction. No,
Mm-hmm.
these are real families, real
Absolutely.
families that at some point become your family because you still touching bases with them six
Yes.
months. Or if you're an agent that's really doing your job, the birthdays of the family members, to send them
Mm-hmm.
cards. So you're actually becoming family with a lot of
Yes.
people that we're working with.
Very
So,
true.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
so what's your take on cold calling? Because you
You
mentioned
know,
brought that up.
I do cold calling.
You
I
do.
I do. I do circle prospecting. I have always done it. When I first became an agent, I believe in it. I do door knocking, and
No, I don't do that now.
I do. I do door knocking. I haven't done it since the pandemic, but I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you, it took a minute for me to get out of my head with the door knocking because I was like, oh my god, I'm a black girl knocking on these people's doors. They gonna shoot me.
I don't do the door knocking. No.
So what I did when I door knocked, I made sure everyone knew that I was an agent. I wear a baseball cap real easy. I'll throw me a baseball cap, and at the time I was with Exit Realty. So I have on an Exit Realty hat, an Exit Realty shirt. I had my signs on the car. I had my bag in my hand that said Exit. So everyone knew I was an agent. But yeah, I love. I don't love it. I do it because it's required for the growth of my business. So yeah, what database do you use? Because I use Mojo.
So no, I don't use none of that. I call straight from my phone. I'm not paying for that. No.
So where do you get your leads from though? As far as cold calling,
I
just
put
people.
them on the MLS.
Okay.
I basically have my assistant to download the list of the day. She looks them up, pulls the phone numbers and everything else, and we call them. Like
Okay.
I'm not no. Because I didn't I've used the Mojo dialer. I've used Red X. What is the other one? I think it's called Express.
Vulcan 7
No, Express Agent, Espresso.
espresso. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've used all of them, and no,
No.
because here's my thing. I
Okay.
think that those systems are great,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to read the remarks in the MLS section. When you're
Mm-hmm.
doing those things, you're just trying to go through the list. When she pulls the list down for me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually looking at, okay, what does the remark say? Hey, the seller don't wanna he's gonna relist for me again, so why would I call them?
Mm-hmm.
Or hey, we're gonna just take a break due to COVID or whatever the case may be. And then I want to actually read what the comments say and understand before I make that call, I can pronounce their name. I
Mm-hmm.
looked up how to pronounce their name because sometimes when you're in those sessions, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have time to stop, pull up their
Right.
pull up their name. It's like going like this. And I was just
Yeah.
like, man, I can't do this. And I
Yeah.
was just like, this is too much. I'd rather just pick up my phone and call these folks because
Right.
nah.
Right.
Because ultimately, most times they're not gonna do business with you the first phone call that you make with them.
Right.
You have
Right.
to continually follow up with them in order to do business. So
So with your follow up, what have you noticed been your point of contact? So how many contacts do it take for on your standpoint for them to actually decide to work with you?
so since I only just started like a month ago,
Okay.
I would probably say I haven't got a listing off of it, but I have gotten some valuable leads to say, hey, not right now, just call me back in such time. And that's another thing. When they say call back in such time, I cut that time in half. If
Okay.
you say 2 weeks, I'm gonna call you back in a week. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and and so today we're gonna go back through our entire list. And I like to call in the afternoon.
Okay.
We saw that call in the morning We get a lot of voicemails.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we kind of shifted to where, okay, let's call in the afternoon, and we'll get a little bit more engagement. So that's what we're doing now, trying to call in
Okay.
the afternoon.
Yeah, I did cold calling though. Like I said, at first it was more so like I don't want to hit a nose. I was afraid of the nose, like or being cursed out, one of those because I'm a laughable person, but at
Mm-hmm.
the time I had to kind of switch because
Mm-hmm.
and one thing I noticed when it was like top producing agents, I started watching how they move. That's really what made my shift when it came to cold calling or door knocking. Like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them was arrogant or what I would consider rude, right? They was cutthroat, they didn't really let anything bother them. And then on the other hand, here go this emotional girl from Florida said
Mm-hmm.
told me no. Like I had to shift. It was like, okay, if I don't get it together and be like, okay, I need these no's to get to that yes,
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't last it the 3 years that I've been in the business. You know what I mean? So it was like a
Mm-hmm.
quick turnaround for me. It's okay. Let them tell you no, because somebody gonna tell you yes.
Somebody gonna tell you yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what was the aha, or what was the moment you realized, hey, I want to be in real estate before you start doing property management?
Um, okay, so I'm gonna kind of summarize my story.
Okay.
I never was the type of girl that wanted to work for somebody, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
So and this is nothing negative towards any kind of industry, but I didn't want to do fast food. I didn't want to do the cashier life. It just wasn't me. Like it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. I feel like it will put the fire out on my personality.
Okay.
So I got into property management. I got into that and I enjoyed it because for one, the money was good. Every 3 years, the property management changed. So you always met new people. But my husband, he actually got into the real estate industry 16 years, 17 years prior to today's date.
Okay.
So I became interested in it really at that point, but it wasn't the starting point. It was just like the motivation for me to start.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it took me a long time, Maurice, to do it because, like I said, I got so comfortable in property management.
Mm.
So in 2007 is when I had made my mind up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get into real estate. But I kept having babies.
Right before the market shifted, but go ahead.
Yeah, right before the market shifted. So
Mm-hmm.
I took the state. I took the course, passed the course. Then I ended up getting pregnant. I had to be in a hospital with complications. So then that put a halt, a still stall on my career as far as being an agent.
Mm-hmm.
So here goes Shalonda. I waited 23 months to take the state exam. Right, failed
Damn,
it.
your time almost ran out, didn't it? Like you only got so much time to take the state exam.
Yeah, 23 months failed. So I was like, okay, I kind of gave up. Right.
Uh-huh.
Then had another baby. Had another baby. So then I end up 2016 took the course, right? Kind of let it the end of 2016. Kind of let it, lay dormant. So then fast forward to 2018, I was like, this is what I want to do because I was always reading about it, learned the vocabulary way before I even took the course.
Mm-hmm.
So it was me. It matched who I was, but
Yeah.
my mind, the mindset wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really my aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
Got tired of switching management companies, and my time was changing over. Benefits was changing over, so it was like retirement. What? I wasn't gonna retire with nobody. The way management companies were switching over, so
Yeah.
that was what made me get into real estate.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there
And
it
then,
is.
and then, I mean, as for me, I mean, the reason I got into real estate, I'm gonna be honest, I ain't want to work for nobody else. After coming out of the military, being told what to do,
Mm-hmm.
morning, noon, and night, I was like, because I could have easily said, okay, let's take this GS job, or let's take a government job, and let's take this corporate job,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they look for. They look for veterans who've been in
Mm-hmm.
the military, who's got the training, discipline, and all that stuff. I could have easily took one of those jobs, but I said, do I really want to do that? Hmm.
Yeah.
No, because you look at my situation now. I mean, I get to get on a Zoom with Shalonda from Orlando. I get to do what I want to do day
Yeah.
in and day out. So that's what I love about being in this business. It has its good days, it has its bad days, but
Hmm.
the moment I decided was when I was like, man, I don't know what to do. Like I took a month off. I was like, what am I going to do with my life after the military? Because if that's all you've known over half of your life, and you decide, okay, now it's time to pack it up and get ready to get out, you don't know anything else. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, the military spoils you. You
Yeah.
know,
How long were you in?
24 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
So you're looking at over 20 years of military experience,
Yeah.
and you're getting a paycheck every first, maybe 15th.
Yeah.
Rain, sleep, shine, it don't matter. I could be home for 25 days. I'm still gonna get a paycheck. I could be
Yeah.
anywhere. I'm still gonna get a paycheck. So it's like, and it took me a moment to shift my mind because
Hmm.
those checks weren't coming every first and 15 no more. And
Hmm.
now here it is. I'm in real estate. It takes me I think like 4 months to close my first deal.
Really?
Yeah, took me 4 months to close my first deal, and everybody's like, "Oh man, that's good." And I'm like, "That's good? What you talking about? That ain't no good. Like I need a check every month at least one closing. Like that's not enough money." So it took me to understand that hey, if you put in the work and consistency in this business, it will give you what you're looking for. So
Right.
once I realized that I didn't want to work for anybody else, I said, all right, let's do this real estate. Now I own a few properties already.
Hmm.
I own a few rental properties here in Jacksonville. And I was like, wait a minute. I could probably just find out my own information for the properties I'm looking for, or find out the inside scoop. So let's try this real estate thing.
Yeah.
And so far, so good.
Well, yeah, shoot, a year and a half, and the way you closing these deals, so you cover St. Augustine too, right?
Yes. So I did. I closed closed a condo down there in St. Augustine a couple months ago. Yeah, it's
How's the
pretty good.
market there? Because you know what, I've been to St. Augustine once, and that was as a child, and I can just remember the chocolate factory, the horsemen that did the horseshoes. That's the only
Mhm.
thing I can correlate St. Augustine to.
Well, I would say St. Augustine is a tourist destination.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Almost, and it's a tourist slash retirement community.
Okay.
Um, and the prices of houses are definitely going up in St. Augustine.
Okay.
Um, we did an open house for a house. What was that? Last like, couple weeks ago, and it was like a 2 bedroom, 2 bath,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted like over $500,000 for this house.
Wow.
And so, I mean, it's an old Victorian home. They did some work to it. There's some upgrades to it and all that. But I mean, St. Augustine is definitely expensive. Um,
Okay.
like, it's definitely an expensive location. I wouldn't move there because it's more or less for old retirement communities. Some people do move there just because of the schools,
Mm-hmm.
but the majority of people that move to St. Augustine are people who are looking to retire or uh, just want to relax. They move
Okay.
to St. Augustine. Yeah, so that's kind of what St. Augustine is. And they have the little outlet there, but it's supposed to be redoing it, whatever. But it's not that bad.
So, Maurice, I want to get into real estate, right?
Yes.
I want to jump into real estate. I don't know where to begin. I've been trying to research, but I get a little information from this person, a little information from that person. Where do I begin? How can Shalonda get in real estate?
So I mean, without going through the technical, taking the test and going to class or going
Mm-hmm.
to school, find an agent that you can just shadow,
Mm-hmm.
um, and learn what they do on a daily basis, showing properties, doing listing agreements. Learn from that agent because you'll learn that once you get into real estate, what you learn in school don't prepare you for does not prepare you for what an actual realtor does on a day in and day out basis.
Yeah.
That's all your brokerage's job to do. School only teaches you the law. So if you really want to see what real estate agents do or realtors do, you need to possibly shadow a realtor on a daily basis. So
Right.
that's what you should be doing. So I would also say um, I mean, that's pretty much it. If you shadow another realtor, I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. How
but
many times
I
did
would
it
say
take?
find the right realtor to shadow.
Right.
Um, don't shadow some person you think is doing well. I mean, really do your research on that person to know what their status is in the real estate industry. So
How many times did it take you to pass the test? You passed it on the first go around, or really
one time, one
seven?
time, one time, one time. That's all it took.
I
Because
was
here's what I
sitting and
did.
done.
One time, and I'll tell people what I did. I mean, I put this story out on my YouTube page, but what I did was I don't know if I have that little book, but they give you a book, the Florida, whatever you call it,
Mm-hmm.
preparation book, and I just studied that. I mean, they got like 3 or 4 exams inside of there, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll notice that the exact same questions that are in that book is on that exam. They change the numbers around, they change the names on the test, but it's exactly the same. So,
Yeah.
um, and
Took
also
me
I
seven.
learned. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it took me 7 times.
No, no. I don't think I would have kept doing it after the second time. I'd be like, forget this. So, yeah, one time I
Yeah.
got yeah. So once that happened, um, yeah, it took it one time, and also you have to learn the formulas. I don't know if people know this, but you have to do math on the real estate exam. So
Yeah.
if you're not good at math, and it's basic subtraction, addition, division, but if you don't know the basic math, you're gonna have to do some studying. So, and those formulas definitely will help you get through the exam. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So,
true.
what would you recommend to a new agent that's just getting into the business or wants to get into business?
I would say first learn the vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
Learn the vocabulary. I would say that's one. And then I will also say, I agree with you. Link up with another agent that you can shadow. I'm in agreement with that.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of see, because a lot of what I have noticed that a lot of people can get these license
Mm-hmm.
and they think is something. When I say easy, when I say it's not easy, I mean more so they think we just dress up, put on some nice decent clothes, drive a decent looking car, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what it's about.
Yeah.
But it's way more to that. So I would highly suggest that you shout at someone just to make sure that this is something that you want to get into, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to come up with almost 2 grand just to be active. So you don't want to kind of waste that money. So I would definitely say learn the vocabulary, find your agent that you can trust and shadow, and just go from there and hit the ground rolling. Because I think for
Mm-hmm.
me, when I was considered a new agent, I think where I messed up at, I didn't have I didn't have like a mentor. I didn't have a guide. I kind of was out here just winging it. Everything that I learned it on my own per se.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and then I was part time, so I
Yeah.
was still working, and I wasn't giving real estate my all. So I would say, if you're going to jump into real estate, and I know every scenario is different, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, I don't recommend someone coming into this industry as a part time agent if you can help it.
Yeah, I'm noticing that a lot more. I've noticed that a lot of agents are coming into business part time
Mm-hmm.
and are curious to know why they don't see that much success from it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's just very difficult to do. I mean, if you're working a 9 to 5,
Yeah.
when do you have time to prospect? When do you have time to show property? When you have time to do any of the things that you need to do to run a business? I mean,
Yeah.
that's tough. Like,
It is. It
you
is
know,
definitely tough. So
yeah.
why you chose EXP?
Why did I choose EXP?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I would say EXP chose me.
Okay. Explain
So
that
so
one.
I would say because I mean the thing is, I was like, I was good. I was doing pretty well before I came to EXP.
Okay.
Um, I was closing deals. I was getting things done. But somebody approached me about it, and of course, when they first approached me, I was like, I'm not feeling the EXP. I'm getting a full 100% commission. Why do I need to give you
Mm-hmm.
guys 20%? But I didn't realize the amount of value that you're getting from EXP until I came on board.
Okay.
And it took a little time for me to want to come over here because I think that what the straw that broke the camel's back for me is when it was so much disorganization in the current brokerage I was at.
Mm-hmm.
The training wasn't going right. I couldn't get straight answers. I was like on this whirlwind and wasn't getting what I needed to
Mm-hmm.
grow a successful business. So I just decided, hey, I can't do this no more. I gotta let me go ahead and jump ship. And so when I did, I think that was probably my aha moment in real estate for real. That's what kind of propelled me to what my business is now. Because here's the great thing about EXP that people don't realize:
Mm-hmm.
everybody helps you. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
There is no lack of person that will not be willing to help you. I've talked to people from Dallas. I've talked to people from California. I've talked to people from all over the country, and they say,
Right.
"Hey, if you need any help, just call me." And I have their numbers. I can call them and say, "Hey, man, I'm having a tough day. What do you think about this?" And they will give me their honest opinion. These very successful agents. So
Right.
to have that at your fingertips, and
Right.
not just, I mean, granted, Jacksonville has some great agents, but when I could just call out of my market and say, "Hey, my guy from New York, can you tell me what you guys doing? Or can you show me something different that I can bring down here?" That makes a world of difference because that amount of value in itself
Mm-hmm.
is priceless.
Yeah.
Like, perfect example. Me and you talking on this Zoom on
Yeah.
this this webcam would not
Right.
have happened without EXP.
Right.
That would never have happened. I would never have been, we probably know each other on Facebook, but the fact that we are at EXP and we both have common goals and common visions,
Yeah.
yeah, like that makes it even better. So
Yeah.
what about yourself? You do all this property management, and we don't do property management. So what's going?
Well, I have a lot of stuff in that I have, I won't disclose it over here, but I have mentioned to you that I have in the works. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I have a vision. It's slowly coming together. I
Mm-hmm.
see it. So I was with the previous company as well, with Exit, and I wasn't growing in the office. It was like I'm trying to like when I say that I'm this fireball, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm in a box, and you know how like I'm just lifting the lid with this fire, and I feel like the world is not ready for it yet. You know what I mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
that's how I really feel, and then that's how I felt with when I was with my previous brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had all of this excitement, all of this momentum, but then education. You have to almost beg them to, educate you on something that it's a part of what they promote you on anyway. You know what I mean? But you don't get it. So I met this gentleman that was with EXP doing a transaction, and they was like, look into EXP, da 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 da. So it took me a minute. It took me a couple of months actually.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make the decision right away because I
Mm-hmm.
had that loyalty base with my previous brokerage. I didn't want to let it go. I was loyal. Like when I say Maurice, I was loyal. I was loyal. I did not want to separate that relationship. Because it's like a breakup with anything. I was just loyal. So I ended up having a conversation with my broker. And then at the time when I was having that conversation, that was a Saturday. That Sunday, the conversation didn't set right with me because on
Mm-hmm.
Sunday I was thinking like if they knew, because I was very clear about my real estate goals where I wanted to be at eventually.
Mm-hmm.
They never tried to cultivate me, you know what I mean, until they
Mm-hmm.
realized I was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I expressed that I was leaving. So that Sunday, I made a decision up. Monday morning, I called my sponsor And I was like, what do I do? No, I think I text them. I say, I'm gonna do the application or something to that something to those
Mhm.
that liking. So I did it, and I've been with EXP. I like the moment. I like the movement of it, and like I agree with you. If it wasn't for EXP, I wouldn't be sitting here with the bearded realtor. You know what I mean? Having that conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just learning Jacksonville market. So
Yeah.
great opportunity.
So I want to dig into something a little bit more because that loyalty thing, I've heard it a lot, and
Right.
I just don't quite understand how loyalty over value is, like how loyalty can be a priority over value. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be honest with you, I talked to a couple of agents and they're
Mhm.
complaining about their brokers not training them, they're not getting help,
Right.
but they seem to feel so loyal to their brokers that's not giving them anything. So it kind of explain why is that? In mindset.
I'm gonna dig a little deep with this,
Yeah.
and I can't speak for the other agents, but I
Yes.
also I think it's knowing your worth, knowing your individual worth.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, I didn't see the value, and I think it was more so of the people that I was associated with.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see the value that I actually brought to people.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of my things. So I'll break it down to just self-esteem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was loyal to people that wasn't loyal to me. So
Mm-hmm.
once I discovered that I deserve that same treatment, I deserve for that brokerage that I was with to make sure I had the education that they promised me,
Mm-hmm.
make sure I had, whatever it was needed for me to succeed, right? So when I realized it wasn't that, I then became loyal to myself, and it wasn't an
Mm-hmm.
easy process. It wasn't, and I think a lot of the times too, Maurice, is how we were raised. You know what I'm saying? We see people.
Mm.
It goes back to childhood. For me, can't speak for everybody,
Yeah.
but just in certain situations as a child, you love yourself. But then if you see a parent or a family member that's in an abusive situation, they telling you to choose you first, but then they're not choosing them, their selves
Yeah.
first. So I think it just goes back to a lot of childhood upbringing lessons
Mm-hmm.
that, kind of kept me in that situation that wasn't loyal to me.
Yeah, because I've been struggling to answer that question to myself. I'm like I mean, and I explained her situation. Like she hadn't closed the
Hmm.
deal. It's been what 7 months. She hasn't
Hmm.
closed the deal yet. She said she's not getting that much training.
Okay.
Anytime she asks the question, nobody really answers the question. They just tell her to go watch this video or go do some research
Right.
online. Um, but that doesn't really help you when you're a new
Right.
agent. Um,
Right.
you need that cultivation. You need that watering of the seed because you can't grow if you don't get that water.
Right.
So would
Right.
you recommend EXP as a new realtor?
I would. I
Okay.
really would. Hands down, I would without even questioning it.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Now.
I would too. I mean, I think the program that they've started
Hmm.
with the mentor program, even the sponsorship, um, is great. I mean, you can literally help a person, and that's what I love about being an AHP. It's
Hmm.
like everybody's success is your success.
Hmm.
So when you're successful, we all successful. So
Right.
it just that whole, like you said, that movement throughout the company that I really love about it. I mean, it's like everybody's trying to cheer you on. Hey, you could do it. Go out and do great things because they understand that when you're successful, we as a company are successful. And I
Mm.
say we as a company because we own the company. So I said we as a company, we own the company. So when you're successful, I'm successful,
Right.
and our company's successful. So that's what I love about it.
Sponsorship or mentorship?
Sponsorship or mentorship? What are we talking about there?
Simple. Which one has the most value? Because what I noticed, even just being a part of the EXP, we promote sponsorship. But what I have noticed with not I'm not speaking of any personal experience, but you get into these sponsorships, you list this person as your sponsor, and that's really what it is. You
True.
probably don't hear it, and then that sponsor tell you to go get a mentor, right?
Yep.
I have heard that. So, it kind of made me look into it a little bit more, the definition of sponsorship, right? Technically, the sponsorship, who sponsors you, that should be priority. That should be the first relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because they actually should be creating a little protege. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Versus a mentor is to advise. So when your sponsors tell you to go get a mentorship, I'm like, hold on, wait. You hold more value
Mm-hmm.
in the space that you are in over my career, because you are actually setting me up to be a mini you, but my version of a mini you if
Yes.
you're successful.
Yeah.
So what's your take?
I completely agree with that. Because like I said before, your success is my success. So if I bring you on board, and you can ask anybody I sponsored to the program, like they call me, hey, what do I do? I can't get a hold of my mentor. Can you help me out? Sure, absolutely. I understand the mentor may have things going on, so they can't help all the time, or they got a busy schedule themselves. So I
Right.
step in as a sponsor and say, okay, hey, what's your question? All right, so let's talk about it. Okay, so what do you? So because I try to get them to think about it for themselves. If you come
Mhm.
with a question, okay, so what do you think you should do? Give me your, like, because I don't want to sit here and just continue asking your questions, because you're not
Right.
learning anything. You're just learning what I know. You're not thinking on your own. But I
Hmm.
think sponsorship is super important. Like it's like the glue between this person you brought on board to being with our company. Because if I bring you on board, I really have a responsibility to make sure that you have everything you need to be successful. And if I'm not doing that as a sponsor, then I'm terrible. Like
Right.
I say that to anybody who's not really helping the people they brought on board. Like, you
Yeah.
know, of course you can do the work for them, but
Right.
if I've shown you, if you need help, you don't quite understand something, you went through the training and you don't quite get it, okay,
Hmm.
let's have a discussion about it. Or if you're going
Right.
through a transaction and you quite don't understand certain things that are going on, of course it's my job to at least help you, to answer your question. How long does it take you to answer a question?
Right.
Less than a minute, maybe 2 minutes. So if you
Right.
don't have that time, then you maybe shouldn't be a sponsor. Like, and
Right.
and that's the sad thing about it, because I hear those stories a lot too sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, I came on board, my sponsor didn't help me, my sponsor didn't do this, like they didn't, like I
Mhm.
barely ever heard from them. No, I always send them a text, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
What you got going on? You got any deals in the works? And it's like we're like our own little group to say, okay,
Right.
hey, I brought y'all to EXP. I don't care what nobody say. It is my responsibility to make sure you have everything you need to be successful, whether training, tools, everything. So no, and I take it seriously, because it's like you said, I'm
Yeah.
building a mini protege in their own little way to
Yeah.
show them how the business can be done and can be easy. Because some people, like you said, they learn everything on their own. You and me the same. I had to learn everything on my own. Nobody sat there and hold my hand to close deals and walk me through the process. I had to go out and learn on my own. So
Right. Right. I agree.
yeah.
I agree. I agree. What else? What have we not covered?
So what have we not covered? Um, Let me see. So, question for you. So, what's the one thing that you learned, um, that what's the one thing that you would go back 3 years before that you would change when you became a realtor and coming on board?
Um, 3 years ago, I would have just jumped in it full time.
Okay.
I would not have done the whole part time scenario.
Okay.
I do feel like the part time situation set me back
Okay.
a lot. You?
Um, Before I answer, let me ask you another question on top of that. So, how do you tell someone who's has a full time job, but they really want to get into real estate? How do they make that transition? Because they get a paycheck every 2 weeks on that full time job. So how do you tell them, hey, this is the plan I plan for myself? How would you do that?
Okay, so I'm not gonna try to cut this part short. I'm gonna just tell it until I'm finished.
Go
So
ahead. I
okay.
mean, I ain't got nowhere to be. I got.
Okay, so true story.
Okay.
When I got my license, I told God, I said, Lord, when it's time for me to leave, make it uncomfortable. That was a real conversation. I got
Mm-hmm.
my license 2018. I was on I-4 headed home because I was so excited. And I was like, okay, because I know me, I'm a person that was sitting in a situation I deem comfortable, even though I know it's not right. Don't judge me. I
Wait,
have
so you were sitting in traffic on I-4, right? You weren't driving home because they don't drive that fast on I-4. But go ahead.
let me
Nobody
just
moves fast on I-4, so don't tell that story. Go ahead.
say. So that was the conversation I literally had with God, right?
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to 2020, yeah, 2022, yeah, 2020.
Okay.
My job started becoming so stressful. Like it was stressful, Maurice. They was putting inspection on top of inspection. I was managing two different properties, helping out at other properties. It came mad crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like I think that December God had pushed me to go full time, but I was scared, right? Because of the whole paycheck. I didn't have like no plan B. I didn't have like this trust account. I didn't have like this $50,000 or $60,000 set aside. That just wasn't my life. I
Mm-hmm.
had 8 children. So it's like, just it wasn't my life. Your
Hmm.
eyebrows went up.
Whew, that's a lot right there. 8 kids.
8 kids, right?
Okay.
So that wasn't my life. So make a long story short, we'll fast forward to 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 20? Yeah, January. My sponsor actually had texted me because I had told them that I wanted to go full time. No, this was in December. My sponsor had texted me and it was like, what are you working on to make sure you make this goal happen? Right. So at the time I gave some like bullshit ass answer, right? That's what it was. It was bullshit ass answer. So I did that just to kind of get the conversation over with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then in January, they asked me the same question, but that's where it like took off. Then I came on with the team. So from being with Exit, I switched over in November, the end of November,
Mm-hmm.
to with EXP. So from there, what I was saying, what was I talking about?
The transition from exit
Okay,
to there, yeah,
right.
to EXP.
So come January, like it was more, I just, everything was so uncomfortable for me.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to February, no, to the end of January, I closed the deal with my previous brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, what's next? What is next? And then they gave me something. I think that my leasing agent that I had, she just was not understanding, and it kind of was starting to frustrate me. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, what is next? So I called my sister. She was in the car with my brother-in-law. I said, hey, let me talk to G. And I said, what was your moment that you realized you wanted to be a business owner? Right? Because I needed a pep talk at this moment. Because I was
Mm-hmm.
gathering myself to say the hell with it all.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave me his opinion. I called my natural brother and he gave me his opinion. Then I called my husband. I was like, how do you feel about me being a full-time agent? His response wasn't really what I was hoping to get, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't his vision either. So I can't judge it. It wasn't his vision.
Mm-hmm.
So at that moment, I didn't get no one else's opinion. So I end up having a morning huddle with my team. We do that every morning. So the team owner, she spoke. She was like, burn the boat, right? And that stood out to me like light as day. She
Mm-hmm.
was like, burn the boat. So I was like, damn, what is burn the boat? It wouldn't leave me. It would not leave me.
Mm-hmm.
So, the on the morning huddle, she was like, burn the boat, you just have to burn the boat. I called my sister back after the morning huddle. I said, you know what? I'm burning the boat. And she was like, what you mean? She was like, don't go to jail.
It's like, what is it you got to do?
Yeah. She was like, girl, don't you go to jail? Talking about, do I need to put some bond money aside? And I'm joking with my sister because she don't even know what is going on. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the day I was filled with fire, Maurice. Like I already had the
Mm-hmm.
fire in me, but that's when the match was lit.
Yeah.
So I didn't even go to work that day. I called my
Mm-hmm.
supervisor. I say, listen, his name Femi. I say, listen, I say, if I don't take this opportunity, I'm gonna miss the hand of God. Like, I don't want to miss his hand this time. I said, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna turn my keys in to Jose. I'm gonna go to Publix, get a money order for petty cash, take a copy of it, have Jose sign it, just to be my witness. And he was like, huh? Like, what's going on? You okay? You know, da da da. And I said, I just don't want to miss the hand of God. And that was my moment. And I quit my job with $575 accessible income
Mm,
with 8 kids, a
mm.
mortgage, a $513 car payment. That's what I did. When I jumped ship, I jumped ship. So a couple of days after that, in the way God worked that thing out, like literally 2 days, I'm gonna say 2 days after that, I end up having two closings. They'll put 20 grand in the bank account, right? And I wasn't those transactions wasn't even supposed to transfer over with me. The
Mm,
broker had already decided not to pay me those because I left the company.
mm-hmm.
God must have changed his mind, did my closings, they paid me my money, and that was haven't looked back. Haven't looked back.
I mean, that's a great story. I wish a lot of people can hear that. For me, I think my
Yeah.
aha moment. If I could tell myself anything, if I could go back and tell myself anything in real estate, I would say, one, know your value.
Right.
I would say two, all money ain't good money.
Right.
And probably the third thing I would tell myself is this is going to be hard.
Right.
Um, because the mentality I had when I came into it, I was like, man, this is gonna be easy. Like,
Right.
you did this. Like, come on.
Right.
I've seen other people do it. Why can't I do it? But I
Mhm.
had to realize that um, you have to be consistent with this business. Like, if you fall off for a week or two, it just throws everything out of wax. I mean, it's just
Yep.
like a ripple effect. So once I learned that, and then I learned the things that people were doing to generate business. I'm like, this is
Mhm.
what you're doing? Oh, okay. And they make it so easy when they show it
Mhm.
to you, like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm like, that's like I'm thinking this got to be this complicated science, marketing, and this and that and this and that, but it's not.
Yep.
It's so simple and easy to generate business.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that people do not understand. And I definitely commend you for having the faith in God to know that, hey, once He tell you something,
Yeah.
you gotta do it.
Look.
Because I've seen a lot of people that don't have that faith. They like, oh man, I got to stick to this job. Like,
No.
I can't do it. Like,
No, let me tell you, when I say he was putting a whipping on me, Maurice. When I say he was putting a whipping on me, I couldn't sleep at night. Like I would, this is a true story. All this is true story. I
uh-huh.
went to work one day, and you like who you like. I don't
Yeah,
care who you like. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So my maintenance guy, he had actually got off of work because he wasn't feeling well. So I had this one unit. Was almost like in front of the office, but wasn't. It was more so slanted, but you can see the office door.
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting ready to leave. Right, 6 o'clock had came. So I
Mm-hmm.
had, was locking up and everything. I get a knock at the door, and I open the door because I was kind of startled. I was like, "Who knocking at the door?" It's 6 o'clock. It was dark, and the person, when I opened the door, like literally, I couldn't put my foot outside of the threshold, but they can walk in and do whatever they wanted to me in their office because I was by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big old girl, like she big. You hear me? Like she big, big. like
Oh.
like she big, big. And she was like, we watch you. She was like, we watch you. She said, we watch you when you come in, we watch you when you come out. I ain't had no problem with it. But then when she said we, this is where it kind of screwed my mind up. And she was like, we, she just kept saying we. And I'm like, okay, who in the hell is we?
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, we sit right there. And we had what she was talking about, it was like a trash compactor. So if you just walk into your car minding your own business, you're not paying attention to them, right?
Yeah.
So she kind of moved back to let me see who we was. It was about 6 people. Men, I didn't even know who these people were.
Mm-hmm.
That scared the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you. And at that moment, I was like, okay, I see what you're saying, guy. I see that you have made this thing so uncomfortable. If I miss your voice this time, what would happen to me in this office? Because I felt like now it's become a life or death situation. When you got a woman being the decoy for men sitting there watching me in lawn chairs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those. I just had to do it. And when I say Maurice, I don't even know how, I think it was like 86 cents, $575. I'm going to just say 86 cents because that's the number that's ringing out.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know how, look, I don't get food stamps. I don't get Medicaid. I don't get none of that.
You're like, man, what I'm gonna do?
I'm out. Peace
Mm-hmm.
out. I went home and told my kids, and they was excited. You know, they was excited because they don't have that worration like we do as parents.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't looked back, and my bank account has not went lapped. You know, so I'm like, it is what it is. If you want it, you go get it. If you don't want it, you just keep talking about it, right?
Yeah,
And
because
blaming other people.
nobody's gonna give it to you.
Nope, and they're not gonna listen, but they're gonna talk about you. They're gonna
Oh
talk about
man, they're
they're
definitely gonna talk about you, especially when you
Mhm.
just continue talking and you ain't doing anything.
Right, right.
I'll say this to any business owner: if you want to own a business, you got to take some type of risk.
You do.
You have to step out on a little bit of faith to know that, hey, I can do this. So if you don't have that confidence in yourself,
Yeah,
it may not be for you. So
right.
it's like one of my homeboys. I was watching this video. Good friend of mine. He said, "Are you a liability or are you an asset for yourself? Like, are you gonna be a liability and not really live up to your potential, or you gonna be an asset and maximize the potential you've been given by God because He gave it to you. Why not
Right.
take it and run with it?" So.
Right. And to kind of touch on that real quick, I think when it comes to that too, once you have that fireball that's inside of you, God kind of give you that revelation, that's
Mhm.
when you're gonna have to actually sit and knock out the people too. If are they an asset or are they a risk? Because
True.
you can now know your worth as an individual, but if
Mhm.
you have the naysayers that you hang with on a regular basis,
Mm.
if you have the ones that's positive, but it's so much more negativity coming in your circle, like, towards you, that's also a hindrance.
Yeah.
So just as well as for yourself, you're going to have to start, and it may hurt you. Cause I know with me personally, I had to emotionally turn people out that was very close to me. You know what I'm saying? I had to
Mhm.
eliminate some of the real relationships that I had because it just didn't match. Nothing matched. So I would say that would be something everyone needs to do, especially if you have goals and ambitions.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like they say, winners run with winners.
Hmm,
So
hmm.
if you wanna have positivity, you need to run with positive people. Like you can't be
Right.
around somebody who's always negative Nancy, always, oh, this happened, that happened. That type of attitude brings you down. Like you don't want to be
Yeah,
around that. So
yeah, that's true. So, what can we expect from the bearded realtor?
hey, look here. I'm trying to tell y'all. I I have set some major goals for myself.
Yeah.
I may not be able to accomplish them this year, but we will definitely get there. I think when it's all said and done by the end of the year, we probably should be at least 30 to 40 deals
Okay.
for the year. Um, and I think next year we'll probably get to that 50 mark, which is what we set for this year. But I think the fact that I got off to a late start, I didn't really prep myself
Yeah.
properly. I think that now we're halfway through the year, we're getting to where we need to be, and we got a great system in place. And that's
Hmm.
that's what it's all about. Once you have a great system in place, if you consistently run that, you can
Yeah.
do wonders. And I'll tell you, some of my one of my business partners told me. He said, "Hey man, being successful is boring
Hmm.
because if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're like, and it's consistently working. It's like, where do you go from there? Like, you don't need to do anything. You just need to scale up or scale down.
Yeah.
So And I think that was one of my aha moments too when I came to EXP and I hit
Hmm.
6 figures and I was like, this was easy. What's next? Like
Yeah.
this is a cakewalk. Like I gotta set myself to some higher goals because I just like yourself. I can't sit stagnant to where okay I'm comfortable with making this amount of deals. I have
Right.
to be challenging myself to do more than what I've done previously, and that's why I set a big goal this year to do 50, which still could possibly happen. I still feel really good about it,
Yeah.
um, but I think we've closed about 15 deals so far this year. So um,
Look, step it up because let me tell you, let me put a little boost out here. So your girl, let me tell you, so your girl for the month of June, that was 50, right at almost at 15 contracts.
for 1 month, for the month
For
of
1 month.
June,
Yeah, that's what I did.
you working, you working.
Yeah. So it's possible. So you can still close out this year
Yes,
with
we can still close out. Yeah, I'm
deals.
just I'm just trying to focus more on these listings than these buyers. That's just my problem. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get these listings. I'm not trying to. I mean, I love the buyers I've worked with. I
Yeah.
love each and every one of them. But
Yeah.
to order sustain this business, you got to get some listings and
You have to get some listings.
you got to do some listings. So, and I noticed a lot of people are scared of listings. You notice that?
Huh?
I said a lot of people are scared of listings. They don't want to do
I love
listings. I love them too.
my first deal was a listing.
No, I ain't gonna say that. My first deal was
Yeah.
not a listing.
Yeah, my first deal was a listing. I always promoted myself as a listing agent. Um, and that's just where that's where it is,
It
between
is.
that and agent attraction, that's
Yeah,
where it's at. So, you
absolutely.
know, we've been on this for a good minute.
Yeah.
What book do you recommend to the audience?
So this is the book I recommend to the audience, and I'm currently reading it again. If you want to get some real knowledge, this is the book you need to read. If you ain't read this book yet, you need to go read it because this book changes your whole mentality about the mindset, and it definitely helps you to understand
Yeah,
what it takes to be successful. Um, Success doesn't come overnight.
right.
It takes trying several different things and trying several different times because you look at all these great successful people and I'll listen to some of their podcasts and listen to some of
Hmm.
their experiences. You have to consistently continue to do this because
Yeah,
failing is just an a step towards success.
right,
So I
right.
mean that's what I'm reading right now. What about yourself? What do you recommend as far as books?
Okay, it's the millionaire mindset.
Okay, millionaire
It's
mindset.
the millionaire mindset. It's
I thought you about to say the millionaire real estate, but go ahead.
no,
millionaire.
no, no. It's the let me pull it up real quick. It's the millionaire mindset. And when I say this book is amazing, um, it's just amazing. This is my second go around on it. It's very addicting. Just just the knowledge that's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's by Thomas J. Stanley.
So much are you saying?
That's what it looked like.
Okay.
Very, very powerful book.
Okay.
Very powerful book. So you know what, Maurice?
Yeah.
As agents with EXP, I am a firm believer of representation. I don't
Absolutely.
mention that to you before, and I know our numbers. We have this goal in mind. So for 2022, we may be in the late start of it, but for 20,
Oh, we ain't late startup. I got a girl about to sign up here next week. I should be in the next tier here
well,
shortly.
let's do this. I want
Come
to
on,
be
let's do
realistic.
this.
I want to be realistic before we
Okay.
end this. I want us to be a part of one of the peoples that's on the spokesboard at one of these conferences coming up with EXP for representation purposes. That we can get out here, we can be at whatever table we choose to.
Yeah.
So I want to see you up on stage talking, telling your story, and I want to be up there too, telling mine.
Absolutely. I gotta show this beard off. Like people gotta see what's going on.
Yeah, you got to bring it. You got to bring the hype around here. You got to bring it.
You
So
gotta, yeah. You done got me hyped now. You said 15 deals in a month.
I
Jesus.
did. That was my for June.
Whew.
Listen, I started off. I got 9 and 72 hours. 9
Lord,
and 72 hours. So I know it's possible. You know what I mean?
I'm putting right there on my vision board. It's
Yeah.
right there. It's on my vision board. It's gonna go up there.
Yeah. Put it up there. It's definitely possible. And let me see, out of my numbers, I think I only had one so far to not go through.
Mm.
One, I done closed out 4 of them. I got them in June, and I closed 4 of them out in June.
Okay.
So it's definitely possible. You know, at first, I didn't want to seem cocky about it, but I was like, shit, I never did that before. That's something to be.
That's something to be proud of. Absolutely.
Right. You know, coming from a girl that was scared to go full time, and now I'm here and I hit that many contracts in 1 month. Like, pat myself on the back.
Yeah. Pat yourself on the back.
Twice.
That's probably ducats right there. Come on, 15 contracts? Shoot.
I did. June 2021. That was my month.
All right now.
So, I'm gonna try to double it thing for this month, but like with you, I want to hit the listings.
Yes.
I want to focus on these listings and go from there.
Yep. So where can people find you at on social media?
They can find me, Shalonda Lumpkin, on my primary page. Same name on Instagram, and Softer Side of Real Estate on YouTube. What about you?
Everything The Bearded Realtor. So it's THA Bearded Realtor. Only thing is on Twitter, I'm called The Bearded One, the number 1 right after The Bearded. So on all platforms, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. So The Bearded Realtor, and then The Bearded Realtor 1 on Twitter. That's where you can find me at.
Perfect. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you for chopping it up with me. We get a little over an hour, but it's all good. Having fun, didn't even realize it, the time.
Absolutely.
So,
we should do this again sometime.
We should. And, maybe have a different topic or something, but I'm all for it. We won't let this be the last one.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
All right, Sam. Peace out.
See you.
All righty.
Bye.